Evan Lysacek faces the deepest figure skating competition in years and walks away with the gold medal, the U.S.'s first since Brian Boitano in 1988.
Basically, my whole run, I was just like, please God, let me land. And once I landed, I had no idea where it was going to put me, but I was just excited.
The U.S. women grabbed silver and bronze in the halfpipe, and Julia Mancuso strikes silver a second time.
The feeling sometimes doesn't match what your time is, so I was pretty freaking excited when I looked up and saw I was in first.
Two U.S. couples could be battling for the gold in the ice dancing competition, and Bodie Miller goes for another medal.
Welcome to Vancouver Today. I'm Reed Scherner.
And I'm Christine Brennan.
The biggest news out of Vancouver right now, Evan Lysacek outskates reigning gold medalist Evgeny Plushenko. If anyone is surprised, they have not been listening to my partner here, Christine, for 2 days, who laid this out exactly what was going to happen. Explain that to us.
I'll tell you, it was, we knew it was close after Plushenko had the quad in the short program and Evan Lysacek was right there. We watched an athlete, Reed, just once again have the greatest performance at the most important moment of his life, and that was Evan Lysacek. He went out there first. Sarah Hughes did the exact same thing 8 years ago. Get out there early, lay it down, and watch everybody else, and see how they do. And Lysacek was perfect. 8 triple jumps, and the key thing for him, he backloaded his program. He had several key triple jumps after the halfway point where they get more points. So, and he was good on the artistry, and he just nailed everything. And now you have a 45-minute wait for Plushenko. A couple others, of course, in the competition. Plushenko thought he'd won it, but he was shaky. He had several, he toughed it out. He's a tough competitor. You got to give him a lot of credit for landing triple jumps that looked like halfway through the air that he was going to go splat right on the ice, and yet he didn't. But in the end, by 1.31 points, Evan Lysacek is the Olympic gold medalist. And I got to tell you, even after saying all along that it looked like this could be happening, it was a shock to see a Russian lose in figure skating. That doesn't happen very often.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, for the layman, we watched it with some laymen. When Lysacek finished, I said, that's your gold medal winner. However, when Plushenko finished, I was a little bit, well, what is it? I waited for the numbers. Did you know right away that Lysacek had won after Plushenko skated?
I thought that Plushenko was shaky and rough around the edges and had made just enough mistakes. No falls. He had a quad, of course. Again, the conversation about the quad. So I thought Plushenko was good. Also, the makeup of the judges. Of course, this is a judge sport. 9 judges. 6 of the 9 were Eastern Bloc or Eastern Bloc leaning. That's France, and 5 Eastern Bloc. So depending on how they take out the high and the low, and then they also take out 2 other judges. So I thought that didn't look good for Evan because it would have been a 6-3 split, Eastern Bloc, Russian against Western, of course, Evan. But then we just look at the scoreboard, and it's one of the great moments in sports. You just watch this thing, and you look, and there's going to be this little number that pops up, and you'll immediately know forevermore who's going to be able to be called Olympic gold medalist or Olympic silver medalist. And that's when Plushenko came up, second place. Evan Lysacek was first.
We're going to be talking Lysacek for weeks and maybe years or whatever. No, I mean, we'll continue. Right. But we probably shouldn't leave because you've done this for so long without mentioning Johnny Weir and Mr. Abbott, who I thought skated well tonight, again, as a layman.
Yeah, well, absolutely. Johnny Weir had a great performance. He didn't fall. He is not what he was 4 years ago. There's a little lackluster, but fine. 6th place, and actually, as I was watching him skate, I thought, is it possible he's going to sneak into the medals? Doesn't have the content, and also I think the judges probably are saying, okay, if we've got one American on the medal stand, we're not necessarily going to have another one. Although I don't mean to say that as a cheating thing. It's just, I think, just the reality of the sport. And then Jeremy Abbott, after a disastrous short program, acquitted himself quite well, moved up to 9th. So the Americans' first, 6th, and 9th, that's a pretty good Olympic Games. And a high-powered U.S. team led by Evan Lysacek, who is on cloud 9, as, by the way, Evgeny Plushenko is complaining and whining. He even snuck up to the top of the medal podium. He shows up and he goes up to the top and then comes back down. While Evan Lysacek in the press conferences and afterwards, Reed, was the ultimate in sportsmanship and class and giving great compliments to Plushenko. Plushenko was whining about how it's ice dancing and if you don't have a quad, and really, I thought, discredited himself. It was a shame to see how Plushenko was acting after the fact, wanting to get out of the press conference, not wanting to congratulate Evan Lysacek. But I think Evan Lysacek is going to get the last laugh.
Excellent. Well, I would say thank you for all the skating information, but we'll be talking about it for the next 7 days. We got ice dance, then we've got the women.
Absolutely.
So we'll go from there.
You got that right.
The talented U.S. half-pipe team had 4 women of 12 in the final round. Hannah Teeter and Kelly Clark won silver and bronze, unable to match the 45.1 points laid down by Australian Tora Bright. It was the first time the U.S. had not gotten a gold medal in the women's half-pipe since 2002. USA Today reporter Sal Rubel breaks down the competition for us.
The half-pipe at Cypress Mountain had been a little beat up. It had trouble keeping snow on it, and last night you could see the effects of having hosted practices plus the men's rounds and the finals and the women's rounds going on and on, so it was beat up and scarred up. So it was a little difficult for them. But the way the riders look at it is everybody's riding the same tube. Everybody has to just either up their game or adjust to it. And, you know, the American girls just apparently didn't adjust to it. Did they lose the gold medal? I wouldn't say that. In some ways, this was an Australian-American sweep because Tora Bright lives and trains most of the year in the United States, and she trains with these same girls, and she trains on the same pipes and the same mountains. She's very much like an American and like an American rider. So in that sense, the American program is still pretty valid and is obviously still the dominant one in snowboarding around the world.
I felt good because I ate it on every practice run and hit my bum super hard, and I had no idea what to expect. For finals, I was just hoping to land a run, so I was super pumped up.
This medal tonight means a ton to me, having worked so hard to get here. And so I'm just really thankful, and I'm looking forward to more years of fun snowboarding.
I watched the guys last night and kind of got an idea of sort of what the judges were looking for, which was definitely amplitude and like flawless style.
I think heading into today, I knew that, you know, the winning run was going to have to be perfect, and it was going to have to be done big.
Another surprising silver medal for Julia Mancuso in yesterday's women's super combined. Mancuso trailed gold medalist Maria Reich of Germany by 0.94 seconds. Lindsey Vonn did not finish the slalom course. USA Today reporter David Leon Moore talks about Mancuso's race.
Julia Mancuso came in kind of under the radar and certainly overshadowed by Lindsey Vonn. She got healthy this year. Things have been coming together a little bit, and they just exploded all at the same time. She's got a history of being a big game skier. And actually, while Vonn is still drawing a lot of attention, Mancuso is suddenly arguably the greatest Olympic skier in U.S. history. She has a gold medal and 2 silver medals. She's the only U.S. woman with 3 medals. The only man with 3 medals is Bodie Miller, but he's never won a gold medal.
I couldn't believe it, really. I mean, I went out there and charged that slalom, but I haven't had a good slalom time in a while, so just the feeling sometimes doesn't match what your time is. So I was pretty freaking excited when I looked up and saw I was in first. I know just how excited I was crossing the finish line, and I think I looked up and saw that I was in first and kind of fell over. I mean, it's hard when you cross the finish line to know exactly because I think the crowd reacts before you stop, so you can't hear. I couldn't hear the crowd's reaction, so I didn't really know, and it's really hard. You can't find the scoreboard, so I'm going and I'm turning, and I see the scoreboard, and I think I just forgot about everything else and fell over, and I wanted to let it all out, all my excitement, and that's how it came out.
Ice dancing begins tonight at Pacific Coliseum, and 2 U.S. teams could be fighting over the gold. Torino silver medalists Hannah Belbin and Ben Augusto are back for their second Olympics. The team broke a 30-year ice dancing medal drought for the United States in 2006 when they took home the silver medal. Now, reigning U.S. champions Merrill Davis and Charlie White beat Belbin and Augusto at the U.S. Nationals and could beat them again here. We talked to Belbin and Augusto before the games.
One of the great things about competing in Canada is that the crowds are so supportive of, winter sports in general, but especially for us in figure skating. They love figure skating and they're so knowledgeable and supportive. So I know that it's going to be a huge boost for us to get some good energy from the crowd, and I hope that it'll affect all our athletes and everybody will perform well.
I've always associated very clearly my childhood with Canada and my career and my adulthood with America. So it's nice to be able to celebrate the two together, have my family in Canada there watching me, and have my friends and my whole career coming from the States. This time around, coming in with the experience that we've gained the past 4 years, we need to be able to still capture some of that naivete, I suppose, and enjoy ourselves and not think too much about the results, but also embrace the fact that we are now veterans, that we're coming in with one specific goal in mind, and that is Olympic gold. So we sort of need to marry the two together and make sure that our focus is there, but we don't want to miss any of this ride.
The U.S. Alpine team has already more than doubled the total medal count from Torino. David Leon Moore tells us about today's Super G race.
This should be tailor-made for Bodie. He's a great skier. He arcs beautiful turns, and he charges. And so I think Bodie, who won the bronze medal in the downhill, has a good medal opportunity.
Not everybody who comes to the Olympics is here for a medal. For the thousands of spectators, pin trading is all the rage.
Can I trade you one of these?
Sure can. What are you looking for?
Muck. Yay!
I'll do that for the truck and jet set.
And jet set?
Yes.
Yeah, the idea is to kind of trade things that are similar in value. Like we had one of the Petro-Canada ones that spins, and so we were trying to look for something that was of equal or greater value.
Do you have a Quachi? You know what? Yeah, I'll trade a Quachi. What do you have to trade with?
You know, people ask me, what's my favorite pin? And my answer is, the truth is, for every person, they have a different favorite pin. So it's a visual kind of an activity. Everything you look at is different. Everybody likes different likes.
Finally, I traded to We got Muck and Miga.
I forgot. I don't know what its name is, but I know it's a mascot.
You know what? You want a Canada pin? Like this one?
I want the T-Rex one.
No, it's a fun activity because you get to meet people. It's a real icebreaker. It just keeps everything moving, and it gives you a feel of a spirit as being part of the games.
That one?
Yes.
There you go.
It's the end of another Vancouver Today, so it must be time for another curling lesson. Here is day 4 in our curling series, all about sweeping. Here's the promise: Christine and I will be back tomorrow.
And this is called sweeping. You're going to see a lot of this in the Olympics. And that's what we're going to talk about in today's curling tip. Hi, I'm Georgina Wheatcroft, 2-time world champion and 2002 Olympic bronze medalist in Salt Lake City. So why do curlers sweep? Why do we chase the rocks down the ice and sweep? Because this allows us to manipulate the stone to go where we want it to go. Years ago, when I started curling, there was actually corn brooms. And the reason we used those was to put debris on the ice and manipulate the stone to curl. But now that the ice makers are so good and the ice curls so much, we can use this much lighter push broom. And this one has a synthetic bottom, so we don't leave any debris on the ice. So there's 2 different types of push brooms: the synthetic head that I showed you and the horsehair. And you'll see both of these in the Olympics. The reason why is this broom is much easier to use. You can move it much quicker. However, if the ice is frosty, you need the horsehair to remove the frost. So the strength that you put on the broom and the speed is what creates that vacuum to pull the rock down the sheet of ice. So when you're watching the Olympics, watch for the difference between the men and women. That's the one thing they have over women, is that their upper body strength and the speed that they can move this broom.